request for some lower back stuff. So we'll focus a little bit on lower back today. So we will start seated. So make yourself as comfortable as possible, finding that comfortable seat, sitting up on a blanket or a block or a pillow or sitting up on anything and just crossing one leg in front of the other. And then once you do find that comfortable seat, just gently start to close your eyes. So as you start to close your eyes, start to take that gaze inward. When I say take your gaze inward, really just trying to focus on the breath. Trying to focus on the body, focus on the mind. And for this next hour or so, just see if you can just focus in on you. So it's really difficult, especially right now, just to take time to focus in on you and to not think about anything else going on. So just take this next hour for yourself to focus on you, on your practice, on your breath. Try and focus just on your yoga mat. So just trying to be present. So I've brought that into quite a few classes this week, just trying to practice being present. So that can also be something really difficult for us right now. So at least for this next hour, try and practice being present, being in the moment, being in that pose, not thinking about the next pose or the next thing that you're moving on to. And then maybe you can continue that presence throughout the rest of your day, maybe throughout the rest of your week, or at least just be mindful of that presence, trying to be in that moment. And as you start to think about presence, maybe you want to start to incorporate that Ujjayi breath. So for Ujjayi breath, taking a deep inhale through the nose, exhaling the breath back out through the nose. Starting to create that ocean-like sound in the back of the throat, or just continue with deep inhales and deep exhales. Just again, starting to deepen the breath. So seeing if the breath can help you come a little bit deeper into the mind, focusing in on each inhale and each exhale. And as you focus in, seeing if you can start to roll your shoulder blades back. Feeling the chest opening up, trying to roll those shoulder blades away from the ears, not letting them crunch up to the ears. Feeling your spine lengthening out, sit bones grounding down, that crown of the head reaching up tall. And then just slightly tuck the chin in towards the chest. So feeling a little bit of length in the neck. So feeling the breath moving through the body, feeling the rise and fall of the chest with each inhale and each exhale. And then on your next inhale, you're going to reach fingertips out to the sides, letting the palms come overhead to touch. And on your exhale, you'll let those palms release down into heart center. So pushing the thumbs into the sternum, rolling shoulder blades back. Again, checking back in with that breath, taking full inhales and full exhales. And then just check in with the body here, noticing how the body feels here on this Sunday morning. Maybe you're feeling a little bit achy or feeling sore, feeling tension in certain areas of the body. And throughout class, just try to send the breath towards that tension. See if you can release it. And then to open today's class together, we're going to do 3 rounds of deep cleansing breath. I love to start and end class like this. So you'll take a deep inhale in through the nose. And on your exhale, you'll let the breath out through the mouth, really trying to release everything out through the breath. So deep inhale in. Exhale the breath out. 2 more times, inhale in. Exhale, release. 1 more time, deepest inhale in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. And then starting to come back towards your room, starting to open up the eyes. And then on your inhale, reaching fingertips up, staying in that seated position. You're going to take your left hand towards your right knee, and your right hand is going to come back behind you. Got to move up a little bit so I don't hit that behind you. So right hand is back behind you. Left hand is on your right knee, and you're probably up on those right fingertips. I'll show you from this side. Left hand here, right fingertips back behind you. You're probably up on those fingertips. Just seeing if you can roll that right shoulder blade back. Again, feeling the crown lengthening up towards the ceiling, rolling the shoulder blades back. And if you want to here, maybe you want to tuck the chin in towards the chest. So again, feeling that length in the neck, feeling that length in the spine, both sit bones still grounding down. And then again, in your first pose here, just checking in with how the breath feels. Feeling the breath moving through the body as you're still trying to twist a little bit deeper, taking that gaze behind you. And on your next inhale, reaching fingertips back up through center. And we'll come to the opposite side. So left fingertips back behind you, that right hand comes towards that left knee. So wrapping the fingertips around that left knee. Left fingertips are back behind you. And again, seeing if you can roll that left shoulder blade back. Opening up the chest. Again, if you want to tuck the chin in towards the chest, if that feels okay in the neck. Again, taking deep inhales and deep exhales. See if you can keep that left shoulder blade rolling back. Maybe the gaze starts to come back behind you. Or maybe the gaze stays out to the side, whatever feels better for the body here. Sit bones grounding down, spine lengthening out. And then on your inhale, reaching fingertips back up through the ceiling. And then palms are gonna come down, and you're gonna walk your hands out in front of you. So just coming into an easy forward fold here. Maybe the hands stay right here. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more open this morning and the forehead can come down to the floor. Or this is where a block or a pillow or a blanket come in handy. Maybe the forehead releases onto that block, pillow, blanket, whatever you have. But maybe you're staying right up here in your forward fold, already feeling enough of that forward fold. You can tuck the chin in towards the chest here too. Still feeling that spine lengthening out. And see if you can use your breath to release a little bit more forward. So with each inhale and each exhale, seeing if you can walk the hands out in front of you a little bit more, coming into that forward fold. Spreading the fingertips wide, and again, checking in with the shoulders, not letting the shoulders come up into the ears. Seeing if you can keep the shoulder blades rolling back and trying to release down with the chest. You'll still feel those sit bones pushing down into the earth. As you push into the hands, seeing if you can push those sit bones back. And then staying in your forward fold, you're just gonna walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat. So reaching fingertips over towards the right. You're still in that forward fold. Maybe you can release down a little bit further. Maybe you have to walk out of it a little bit. Yogi's choice here. Listening to your body. And then you're gonna walk your hands back through center, taking your time as you walk your hands through center. Coming over towards that left side. So palms release down towards the left side this time. Seeing if you can release over that left thigh this time, walking the hands out. Really pushing down through that right sit bone, feeling that side body stretch. And then on your inhale, walking your hands back through center, pausing here in center for just a few more rounds of breath, maybe coming a little bit deeper, maybe moving that block or blanket out of the way. And then on your next inhale, walking your hands back up through center. And then we're gonna take that blanket, block, whatever you're sitting on, and remove that, putting that over to the side, and we're gonna come down onto our backs for some abdominals. So something really important if you have low back pain is your abdominals. So you really wanna use that core and engage that core. So we're gonna come all the way down onto our backs. And once you come all the way down onto your back, just take that full body stretch. So reaching fingertips away from the toes, lengthening out the spine. Maybe gently rocking the hips from side to side. And then the knees are gonna come in towards the chest. So wrapping the arms around the legs, hugging those knees in, palms on the shins. And then you're gonna let the legs again lengthen out long. And you're gonna lift up your right leg. So left leg stays down, everything on the body stays down. You're just gonna lift the right leg up. So as you lift that right leg up, if you wanna take your hands behind the thigh, maybe just hug that right leg in a little bit. And you can flex and point the toes here, maybe rotating the ankle. You still want to feel that left leg lengthening out on your mat. Head, neck, and shoulders releasing down into the floor. You're just hugging that right leg in, rotating the ankle, opening up that right foot. And then you're going to bring your hands back down to the floor and see if you can straighten that right leg. So seeing if you can take that bend out of the knee if you have one and straighten that leg all the way up to the ceiling. You want to flex the toes down to the face, really pushing the heel away. You should feel that low back pushing down into the earth right here. Both hips pushing down into the earth. You're going to let your right hand come down to the floor. You're going to lift your left hand up towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, you're going to lift head, neck, and shoulders up, reaching those left fingertips towards the right toes, and then lower back down. So continuing with this movement, it's a small movement, but as you lift up, you should feel the lower abdominals engage. Really trying to push that low back down as you lift yourself up. So maybe if you can reach the toes with that left hand, see if you can reach past the toes. That right hand stays down on the floor. Try not to grip anything. So as you just lift up and lower down, still feeling that left leg extending out, reaching those left fingertips maybe past those right toes. As you lift up, trying not to crane the head and neck, really lift up from the abdominals here. And then the next time you lift up, you're just gonna stay lifted up, pausing here, making sure you're not holding any tension in that right hand. See if you can lift up a little bit higher. And then lower yourself down, left hand comes down, right foot comes down, and we'll switch sides. So that left leg lifts up, and then first thing, bringing those hands behind that left thigh, and then maybe you wanna start to hug that left leg in. You can take a bend in the knee here as you hug it in. You can point and flex the toes on that left foot, rotating the ankle, checking in, making sure that right leg is still extending out long on your mat. Rotating, maybe pointing and flexing the toes. And then you'll release the hands down to the floor, seeing if you can straighten that left leg. So taking that bend out of the left leg, really straightening out, pushing the heel up, trying to flex the toes down towards the face, the bottom of the foot facing up towards the ceiling. Left arm is releasing down onto the floor, this time reaching that right arm up. On your inhale, lifting right hand up towards the left foot, and then lower yourself back down. So again, it's a small movement, but you should feel the abdominals engage as you lift that right hand up towards the left leg. So opposite arm, opposite leg. If you can reach the toes with that right hand, maybe reaching the right hand past the toes. That left hand stays down on the floor, just making sure you're not crunching that left shoulder up towards the ear. And you're not holding any tension, so not gripping those hands. Making sure you're not holding any tension in the face either. Sometimes that happens with abdominals. Keeping that right leg extending out long as you're reaching right fingertips up towards the left toes. As you lift up, trying to push that low back down. Feeling that engagement in the abdominals. Moving at your own pace here, so moving with your own breath. Maybe moving a little bit slower, maybe moving a little bit quicker. The next time you lift up, pausing, staying lifted up. See if you can reach those right fingertips past the left toes. Taking one more deep inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lowering that right hand down, lowering that left leg down, taking your time. So we're gonna come back into that movement, but we're gonna bring it into one movement. So you're gonna lift that right leg up and reach left fingertips up towards the right toes. You'll release that right leg down, letting that left hand come down, and then inhale, lifting left leg up, reaching right fingertips up to the left toes. So starting to make this into one movement, lifting up left hand towards right toes, lifting head, neck, and shoulders up, releasing down, switching sides. Right hand lifting up towards left toes. And you can stay right here, or maybe you start to keep those legs hovering and head, neck, and shoulders hover. So see that left leg is hovering, head, neck, and shoulders are up. And then switching sides, letting that right leg hover, reaching right fingertips to the left toes. So yogi's choice here, you can let the legs hover, letting head, neck, and shoulders hover to advance this a little bit. If it becomes too much, you can always let head, neck, and shoulders come down as you release down. And then switching sides. So yogi's choice, just moving with your own breath here, starting to feel the body warm up. Making sure you're not holding tension in the face, holding tension in the neck. And then the next time you come to either side, it doesn't matter, you're gonna pause. Maybe you wanna lift that left leg up if it isn't already hovering. Seeing if you can reach a little bit past that right foot. And then switch sides, seeing if you can let that right leg hover, keeping head, neck, and shoulders up. Trying to reach past those toes. And then you're gonna release all the way down, letting both legs release down. You're gonna reach right, not both fingertips overhead, not just right. Taking that full body stretch, maybe gently rocking the hips, releasing the abdominals. And then you're gonna lift those legs up to the ceiling. So lifting both legs straight up. Again, pausing here, feeling the hips pushing down, flexing the toes towards the face, heels push up towards the ceiling. Seeing if you can just pause here. You should feel the abdominals engage, like the abdominals are holding those legs up. Arms release down to your sides. Then you're gonna take your hands up and you're just gonna lift fingertips up towards the toes. And then releasing head, neck, and shoulders back down. So again, a tiny movement here. But you should feel those abdominals engage as you lift fingertips up towards the toes. Try to keep those legs straight. As you lift up, pushing that low back down. Letting the low abdominals engage. And then the next time you lift up, pause here, staying lifted up. And then just take tiny little pulses, reaching those fingertips up towards the toes, keeping the toes flexed. Seeing if you can reach past those toes. 2 more little pulses. And then you're gonna release head, neck, and shoulders and palms down. And you're gonna slowly let the legs release down to the floor. Taking your time, not letting them come down with a loud thump. Going as slow as you can, feeling those abdominals engage as you let the feet release down towards the floor. Once the feet release, you're gonna lift those legs back up. Taking your time lifting them up. So trying not to bring them up too quickly, feeling the abdominals engage as you lift them up. And then again, you're gonna lower the legs down. This time, see if you can let the legs hover before you bring them back up. If it's too much to let them hover, you can let them release and then lift back up. So moving at your own pace here, lowering and lifting the legs. Trying to keep that flex in the feet. Taking a pause as the legs lift up towards the ceiling, and when you're ready, letting them release back down to the floor. As you lift up, keeping head, neck, and shoulders down. Keeping the belly muscles engaged here. Flexing the toes. Trying to let those legs hover right above the mat before you lift the legs back up. Trying to use the abdominals to lift the legs up. And just one more time, you're gonna lift those legs back up towards the ceiling. And then again, you're gonna slowly let the legs release down. Last abdominal exercise for now. And you're gonna let those legs hover. Seeing if you can hold your legs hovering. Maybe you can lift head, neck, and shoulders up, reaching fingertips towards the toes. Staying here for 1 deep inhale. And then on your exhale, letting everything release again, taking that full body stretch, reaching fingertips away from the toes. Hopefully you're feeling warm by now. And then bringing those knees in towards the chest, wrapping arms around the legs, hugging those knees in. And then pausing here, wrapping the arms around the legs, just hugging those knees in, releasing the abdominals. Maybe gently rocking from side to side. And then you're gonna see if you can rock yourself all the way up to a seated position. So when you're ready, rocking yourself up, or maybe you come over to the right side and then lift yourself up, and we'll come towards hands and knees. So taking your time, making your way towards hands and knees. I'll turn to this side. So palms right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. Spreading fingertips wide, we'll start to move through cat-cow. On your inhale, rolling shoulder blades back, gaze comes up towards the ceiling. Exhale, pushing into the palms, tucking chin in towards the chest, coming towards that cat pose. Inhale, rolling forward, coming into cow. Exhale, coming back into that cat pose. If you want to, maybe tucking the toes under as you move through your cat-cow. Sometimes it feels nice to stretch out the feet, stretch out the toes a little bit. And then taking any movements that feel nice here in cat-cow. So maybe you want to take a bend in your elbows and when you're in your cow. As you come into your cat, you can really exaggerate, tucking chin in towards the chest, belly button up towards the spine. Just continuing to move through cat-cow at your own pace with your own breath. Maybe you want to rock the hips from side to side. Bending one elbow at a time, just starting to warm up the back body. Moving through your cat-cow at your own pace. The next time you come into your cat pose, we're going to pause in cat. So really pushing into the palms, tucking chin in towards the chest, trying to lift that belly button up towards the spine. Breathing here, maybe you want to gently rock the hips from side to side. Seeing if you can spread the fingertips wide, really pushing the palms down into the floor. Then pausing back in center, we'll come through cow pose. Rolling shoulder blades back, opening up the chest. Again, here in cow, maybe you want to take a bend in the elbows. Maybe you can come deeper into the shoulders. Toes can stay tucked, or maybe you want to untuck them. Breathing here in your cow, taking one more deep inhale. And then slowly coming back towards that neutral spine. Once you find that neutral spine, we're going to push back towards a child's pose for 2 rounds of breath. So letting sit bones release onto the heels. Walking hands out in front of you, coming into your child's pose. So letting forehead release down to the floor. The forehead doesn't release down to the floor, again, maybe finding a block or a pillow or a blanket or whatever you got. Seeing if you can spread the fingertips wide, pushing the palms down into the floor, rolling the shoulder blades back. Coming back into your breath here. And then you're going to lift yourself back up through hands and knees, tucking toes under, coming back towards your first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So taking your time as you come into your first dog, and then walking out your dog, so just bending one knee at a time. Moving with your breath here as you bend one knee at a time, coming up onto the toes. Evenly pushing down through both palms, spreading the fingertips wide. And then maybe you want to shake your head out, yes, shake your head out, no. And just starting to settle into your first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe both heels start to release down to the floor, maybe heels stay up depending on how the hamstrings feel this morning. And just seeing if you can get comfortable in your downward facing dog. Spreading fingertips wide, trying to push the chest towards the thighs. Sit bones lifting up. Head releasing down to the floor. And coming back into your breath. Checking back in with the mind. Trying to be present here in downward facing dog in this pose. Then on your next inhale, gaze comes in between the hands. You're going to walk your feet up towards your hands, coming towards that first forward fold, Uttanasana. As you come into your first forward fold, maybe palms release down onto the floor. Maybe you're up on fingertips, maybe your knees are bent. So yogi's choice here in your first forward fold. Just trying to fold from the hips, letting the chest fall over the legs. Head releases down, trying not to hold any tension in the head or neck. And then again, just shake your head out, yes, shake your head out, no. And then on your next inhale, you're going to take your hands out to the sides, so we'll come up through reverse swan dive. So fingertips come out to the sides, lifting yourself all the way up, coming all the way up onto the feet. Hands are going to come into heart center. You're going to release the hands in towards heart center. We're going to pause here, mountain pose, hands in heart center. So feet right underneath the hips, shoulders rolling back, chest opening up, and just gently close your eyes here. And again, checking back in with the breath, feeling strong in your mountain. Pushing both palms in towards one another. Grounding the feet down, crown of the head reaches up tall. Then on your next inhale, gently opening up the eyes, reaching fingertips out to the sides. Palms will come overhead. And we'll come down into our first chair pose, bending into the knees. Reaching fingertips up. If it's too much in the shoulders, hands can come into heart center. Really trying to let those sit bones release back behind you. Coming into that squat, taking one more deep inhale in. On your exhale, straightening out the legs, palms release down towards the floor, back into your forward fold, Uttanasana. On your inhale, coming up into your first half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, fingertips towards shins, looking for that flat back. On your exhale, palms sink down, stepping right foot back, followed by left, back into your downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. On your next inhale, rocking forward into your first plank. Again, feeling those abdominals engaged, palms are right underneath the shoulders, you're pushing out through the heels. Letting knees lower down first, untucking the toes, bending the elbows back, coming down, knees, chest, chin. On your inhale, coming up into your first cobra. Rolling the shoulder blades back, opening up the chest, legs are lengthening out long behind you. Forehead will release down onto the floor. Pushing up through hands and knees, we're going to release back to a child's pose for one round of breath. Taking a deep inhale in. Letting the breath exhale out, and then on your inhale, coming back up through hands and knees, tucking toes under, lifting back towards that downward facing dog. On your inhale again, gaze comes in between the palms, walking the feet up towards the hands, back into your forward fold. And we'll come back up through that reverse swan dive. So taking your time, reaching fingertips out to the sides. Palms will come all the way up, overhead to touch, and again, letting the palms release down into heart center. Again, pausing here in your mountain pose, gently closing the eyes. Trying to be present here in your mountain pose. Present in this moment, feeling the breath moving through the body. On your next inhale, opening up the eyes, reaching fingertips up, coming back down through chair pose, Utkatasana, bending into the knees. Coming back down into that squat, letting those sit bones release down. Taking a deep inhale in. Exhale, straightening out the legs, palms release down to the floor, back into your forward fold. On your inhale, coming up into your half lift, fingertips come towards shins, looking for that flat back. Exhale, palms will sink down to the floor, stepping left foot back, followed by right this time, back into your downward facing dog. On your inhale again, rocking forward into your plank. Again, untucking, knees come down, untucking the toes, lowering yourself down, knees, chest, chin. On your inhale, coming up into that cobra pose again. Rolling shoulder blades back, opening up the chest. Lengthening out the spine on your exhale, forehead releases down. Lifting back up through hands and knees. Again, coming back towards your child's pose for one round of breath. Really letting those sit bones release onto the heels. Walking the hands out in front of you, taking a deep inhale in. Letting the breath release out through the body. And when you're ready on your inhale, back up through hands and knees, tucking the toes under, lifting back towards that downward facing dog. Again, pausing in your downward facing dog, trying to find that comfortable position in your dog. Pushing sit bones up towards the ceiling. Maybe heels start to release down towards the floor. Fingertips are spreading wide. You're pushing evenly through both palms. Arms are straight, legs are straight here, coming into your downward facing dog. On your inhale, you're gonna lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, coming towards three-legged dog. For your three-legged dog, I wanna see that right hip close. So trying to keep that right hip in line with the left. Flexing through the right toes, really pushing into the palms to lift the right heel up. And then you're gonna bring that right knee in towards the nose. So tucking right knee in towards the nose, you can start to curl the spine a little bit, almost like a cat pose. Bringing that right leg back up, coming back into three-legged dog. 2 more times like that. Inhale, knee in towards nose, coming towards that plank. Lifting that right leg back up, three-legged dog. 1 more time, right knee in towards nose. Then you're gonna see if you can lift up and bring that right foot in between the hands. So any way you can, right foot comes in between the hands. And we'll pause here in low lunge. So back leg is lifted up. Back toes are tucked under. That right foot is right underneath that right knee. If your hands don't touch the floor, blocks will come in handy here, or books. Bringing hands towards the blocks, or maybe fingertips come towards the floor, and we'll come into a side twist. Left hand down as you reach right fingertips up. So left hand is on the inside of that right foot, reaching right fingertips up. Seeing if you can roll that right shoulder blade back, and you're gonna take that right palm towards your right hip. Seeing if you can come a little bit deeper into that twist as you roll the right shoulder blade back. Seeing if you can sink the hips down a little bit lower. Again, checking in, making sure that right foot is underneath that right knee. Opening up the chest. You're gonna reach right fingertips back up. Right hand is gonna come down to frame that right foot. And you're gonna step your right foot back to meet your left back into your downward facing dog. And we'll switch sides here on your inhale, lifting left leg up, coming into three-legged dog on the opposite side. So as you lift that left leg up, trying to keep that left hip closed. Flexing through the toes, left hip in line with the right. Heel reaching up, toes facing down. And again, we'll come back into bringing that knee in towards the nose, rocking forward into plank, knee towards nose. Exhale, lifting that leg back up 2 more times. Inhale, tucking knee in towards the nose. Exhale, lifting that leg back up. 1 more time, knee in towards the nose. And again, see if you can push into the palms, lifting that knee up to bring left foot right in between the hands. We'll stay in that low lunge again. So hands are on both sides of that left foot. Back toes are tucked under, that back leg is lifted up. This time, right hand grounds down on the inside of that left foot, and you're gonna reach left fingertips up. So left fingertips come up into that side twist. And then again from here, left hand is gonna come towards that right hip. Left hand towards left hip, sorry. Right hand is grounded down. So that hand releases onto the hip. Seeing if you can keep that back leg straight, back toes tucked under. Trying to roll the left shoulder blade back. Noticing how the breath feels here. Still trying to use your full inhales and full exhales. Maybe you can sink the hips down a little bit lower. You're gonna reach left fingertips back up. Left hand comes back down to frame the left foot. And you're gonna come back towards your downward facing dog. Coming back into that downward facing dog. On your inhale, rocking forward into your plank. Yogi's choice. This time you can lower down knees, chest in, or maybe you wanna come down through chaturanga. Lifting up into upward facing dog or cobra pose. And when you're ready, tucking toes under, lifting up back towards your downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog on your inhale, gaze comes in between the hands. You can walk, or maybe you're ready to hop the feet up towards the hands into your forward fold. Again, on your inhale, lifting up through reverse swan, reaching those fingertips out to the sides, palms come overhead to touch. On your exhale, letting those hands release back down into heart center. Again, pausing here, gently closing the eyes, rolling the shoulder blades back. Pushing the palms in towards heart center. On your next inhale, opening up the eyes, reaching fingertips up. Coming back down through chair pose, bending into the knees. Hands are gonna come right into heart center this time, and we're gonna come into a side twist. So that left elbow is gonna come towards the right knee. So you're gonna twist the body, bring left elbow, it's gonna come right above that right knee. I'll show you from the side. So palms are still pushing in towards one another. Sit bones are still releasing down. You want to see if you can push the palms in towards one another to roll the right shoulder blade back so it's right above the left. You're still letting the sit bones sink down. And as you're here, checking in with the knees, making sure one knee isn't coming in front of the other. Both knees are pushing in towards one another. Feet are together. Trying to see if you can let those sit bones sink down towards the floor a little bit more, taking a deep inhale in. On your exhale, you'll lift up through center and straighten out the legs and come back towards mountain pose. This time, palms down at your sides. On your inhale, lifting fingertips back up, we'll come back down into chair pose, bending into the knees. Hands come into heart center, walking the feet in towards one another. We'll come towards the other side. So this time, that right elbow towards left knee. Right above that left knee. And I'll show you from the side again. So palms pushing in towards one another. You want to see if you can push so much into the palms that that left elbow comes right above the right. Left shoulder comes right above the right. So really opening up the chest. Feet grounding down, sit bones releasing down. Again, finding your breath, trying not to hold the breath here. Taking a deep inhale in. Staying for that exhale. One more time, deep inhale in. Coming back through center again, seeing if you can straighten the legs up. Coming into your mountain pose, this time palms out at your sides, feet underneath the hips. Feeling grounded here on your inhale, reaching fingertips up. This time on your exhale, hands come down through heart center, skipping that chair. Folding at the hips, back down into your forward fold, Uttanasana. On your inhale, coming up into that half lift, fingertips towards shins, rolling shoulder blades back, looking for that flat back. On your exhale, palms sink down, stepping right foot back, followed by left, back into your downward facing dog. Maybe heels start to sink down towards the floor. Palms pushing down, fingertips spreading wide. On your inhale again, lifting your right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping that right hip closed. Coming into your three-legged dog, flexing through the toes. On your inhale again, you're gonna bring right knee in towards the nose. And then you're gonna let the right leg release down onto the floor, but it's gonna extend out towards the left side. So I'm gonna show you from the front. So right knee is in towards the chest. Then the right foot is gonna release down onto the floor. You come onto the outside of the right foot. Both hands are still underneath shoulders, but that right leg is extending out. Back toes are tucked under. You can stay right here, or if you feel ready, you can ground the right palm down and come into fallen triangle. The left hand is gonna reach up. You can stay on those toes tucked, or maybe you come onto the inside of that back foot as you reach fingertips up. So coming into fallen triangle, if not, you can stay right here. Still feeling abdominal engagement here. Or you ground that right palm down, reaching left fingertips up. Coming out of this left hand comes back down. You're gonna see if you can bring that right knee back into the chest and push back towards your downward facing dog. Pausing here in your dog, taking 2 rounds of deep breath. And then we'll come on to the opposite side, so lifting your left leg up. I'll show you from this side. Left leg lifts up. Keeping that hip closed, flexing through the toes on your inhale, bringing that left knee in towards the nose. And again, you're gonna see if you can release that foot down. So it comes out towards the side of the mat. You're on the outside of that left foot, back toes are tucked under. You can stay right here, you ground the left palm down. And you reach right fingertips up, coming into fallen triangle. Back toes may be tucked under, or maybe you come towards the inside of that foot as you reach fingertips up. Coming into fallen triangle, really trying to lift the hips up. Pushing down through that palm as you reach those fingertips up high. Finding your breath here. See if you can take one more deep inhale in. On your exhale, hand comes back down. You're gonna bring that left knee in towards the chest and push back towards your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog on your inhale, rocking forward into plank. Exhale, yogi choice, knees, chest, chin are coming down through chaturanga, lifting up into upward facing dog or cobra. From here, pushing back towards your downward facing dog. Then you're gonna let knees release down onto the floor, untucking the toes. And come back towards child's pose, but this time just to give the palms and the wrists a little bit of a break. Hands are gonna come back behind you. You're gonna let the top of the palms come towards the bottoms of the feet. If you have a block and your forehead doesn't touch the floor, maybe forehead comes to that block, or maybe forehead can release onto the floor, yogi's choice here. And as you come into that child's pose again, checking back in with the breath. Feeling the rise and fall of the entire body as you inhale and as you exhale. Letting the shoulders release. Really pushing those palms into the bottoms of the feet. Belly falls onto the thighs. And then on your next inhale, taking your time to lift yourself up, walking your hands back out in front of you. Pushing up through hands and knees, tucking toes under again. You're going to come back towards your downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. On your inhale, lifting your right leg up towards the ceiling, coming into that three-legged dog. Again, on your inhale, bringing knee in towards the nose. So really pushing into the palms, bringing that knee towards the nose. See if you can step that right foot in between the hands. Again, pausing here in that low lunge. Back toes tucked under, hands on either side of that right foot. On your next inhale, we're going to lift up into a high lunge. Taking your time coming up into high lunge. Hands can come towards hips. Maybe hands come towards heart center. If it feels okay in the shoulders, fingertips can reach up towards the ceiling. As you come into your high lunge, you want to make sure that right knee is over that right ankle. Tailbone is tucked under. Back toes are tucked under, but you're really trying to straighten out through that back leg. If fingertips are reaching up, trying to reach fingertips up high as you let the hips sink down low. From here, hands are going to come into heart center. We're going to come into a side twist. So that left elbow again is going to come towards the outside of that right thigh. So coming into that side twist, pushing the palms in towards one another. Keeping back toes tucked under. If this is too much, you can always untuck the back toes. Still feeling that side twist. From here, we're going to come back into that twisted chair. You're going to step your back foot up to meet the front foot. So grounding down through that front foot, you're going to step the back foot up to meet it. So you're back in that twisted chair. Palms are pushing in towards one another, rolling the shoulder blades back. Show you from the front so you can see me. So you're in that twisted chair. From here, you're going to step back towards that lunge. So you're going to ground down through that front foot. See if you can step that left foot back. And on your inhale, reaching fingertips up. Oh, finding your balance. And then coming into your warrior two. So give that front knee a break. You can straighten out that leg for a minute. And then come back into your warrior two. So into your warrior two, hands on your hips. Right knee right over that right ankle. Shoulder blades are rolling back. Tailbone is tucked under. Checking in that those back toes are pushing in. Heel is pushing away from you. Hands can start to reach out long. Gaze will be over that front middle finger. On your inhale, left hand comes down the left leg. You're going to reach right fingertips overhead. Stretching those fingertips overhead, staying bent in that front knee. On your inhale, lifting yourself back up through warrior two. You're going to straighten out the front leg. Hands will come towards hips and we're going to come towards triangle. So if you do need a block them on the outside of that right foot. Stepping the back foot in a few inches. Again, back toes tucked in, right toes facing forward. You're going to take your left hand towards your left hip, reaching right fingertips up. Pushing those hips back behind you. Seeing if you can exaggerate that movement, pushing those hips towards that back leg. Both legs straight. As you reach that right arm out in front of you. Hand maybe comes towards the shin, maybe towards the toes, or maybe towards that block. Just not letting your hand fall on that knee. And then for your triangle, left hand can stay on left hip. Or maybe left hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Gaze can be up towards the left hand or maybe down at that right foot, whatever feels better for the neck. Seeing if you can pause here in your triangle. Again, checking in with the breath. Taking full inhales and full exhales here. And then checking in with that right hand, making sure there's not too much pressure on the right hand. You should feel your abdominals engage, both feet planted down into the floor. And taking one more deep inhale in your triangle. On your exhale, you're going to lift yourself up through warrior two. Then windmill your hands down to frame that right foot. Stepping right foot back to meet the left back into your downward facing dog. On your inhale, coming forward into your plank. Exhale, yogi's choice, knees stretching or coming down through chaturanga, lifting up into your back bend. Tucking toes under, coming back towards that downward facing dog. Coming onto the opposite side on your inhale, lifting left leg up. Then when you're ready, left knee comes in towards the nose again, really pushing into the palms to lift that knee up. See if you can take that left foot right in between the hands. Again, pausing in your low lunge. Back toes are tucked under. Left knee is right above that left ankle. On your inhale, coming up into your high lunge. So taking your time coming up into that high lunge, reaching fingertips up. Again, yogi's choice, hands can come towards hips, can come towards heart center, or maybe reaching up towards the ceiling. Checking in, making sure you're tucking the tailbone under, back toes are tucked. Trying to sink the hips down low if you got those fingertips reaching up high. Then letting the hands come in towards heart center. Again, we'll come into that side twist. So right elbow towards the left knee, so towards that left thigh. Coming into your side twist. So pushing the palms in towards one another, rolling the shoulder blades back. If this is too much, you can untuck the back toes, still feeling that twist, or keeping back toes tucked under. Again, from here, we're gonna come into that twisted chair. So really ground down through that front foot, feeling the abdominals engage. You're gonna step right foot up to meet left. So it might be a little bit wobbly, but finding that twisted chair again, palms pushing into one another. Knees evenly pushing in, both feet grounding down into the floor. And again, when you're ready, you're gonna come back into that lunge. Taking your time, that front foot grounds down, you're gonna step that right foot back. See if you can hold here for one more breath. And then coming up through that high lunge, and we'll come into warrior two when you're ready. Grounding back, heel down. If you want to straighten out that front leg for a minute, you can. I'll switch sides just so you can see me. Left foot's in front. Coming back into that warrior two, reaching fingertips out long, letting those hips sink down low. On your inhale, coming into reverse warrior, right hand down the back leg, reaching left fingertips overhead. Coming back through your warrior two, hands come towards hips. We'll straighten out that front leg for triangle on the opposite side. So reaching for that block. Block comes on the outside of that left foot. Hands come towards hips. Making sure back toes are tucked in, left toes facing forward. When you're ready this time, left hand reaches up, right hand on the hip. Really trying to push those hips back. Exaggerating that movement as you fold from that front hip. Reaching that left hand out in front of you, coming into triangle on the opposite side. So maybe reaching for your block, your shin, maybe your toes. Right hand can stay on right hip, or maybe right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. And again, just noticing how the breath feels here. Noticing a difference from the right and left side. Both sides are going to be different, and that's okay. Again, checking in, both legs should be straight. You should be creating a straight line all the way from that left hand all the way up towards the right fingertips. Right shoulder blade rolls back, gaze can be up towards the right hand or down at that left foot. Making sure you're not putting too much pressure in that left hand. Feeling your breath moving through the body. And then when you're ready on your next inhale, lifting up through your warrior two, taking your time to lift yourself up, bending that front knee. Then windmilling both hands down, framing that left foot. Tucking back toes under, stepping left foot back to meet the right. On your inhale, back into your plank pose. Yogi shorts, knees chested, or coming down through chaturanga, lifting up into your upward facing dog or cobra. Tucking toes under, lifting hips back up, back into that downward facing dog. On your next inhale, letting the knees release back down to the floor, untucking the toes. Coming back into your child's pose. This time you can take your knees out to the width of your mat. And just let the chest fall in between the legs. Hands can walk out in front of you again if you want to use that block. Maybe forehead releases onto the block. Or maybe your head starts to release down towards the floor. See if you can keep the shoulder blades rolling back, letting the sit bones release onto the heels. And taking a few rounds of breath here in your child's pose. And then walking your hands back in, lifting yourself up, walking those knees back underneath hips. Tucking toes under, you're gonna lift your hips back up towards your downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, coming back into your forward fold, either walking or maybe hopping the feet up towards the hands back into your forward fold. And from here, we'll come into gorilla. So walking the feet out further than hips distance apart. You're gonna take a deep bend in your knees, grasping for opposite elbows, and just gently rock yourself from side to side. So feeling a nice release in the low back here, just letting the head and neck release down towards the floor. Both feet evenly grounding down into the floor as you just rock yourself from side to side. And then palms are going to release down onto the floor. We're going to come down into Malasana, into a squat. So toes are going to turn out, heels are turned in, and you're going to start to release down. From here, if this is too much in the hips, a block can come right underneath the sit bones and you can sit down on that block. Or if your heels are lifted up off the floor, a blanket is super handy here and you can bring your heels towards a blanket and just let yourself release like this. So trying to find that comfortable position, heels in, toes out. You want to see if you can release those heels down onto the ground or using that blanket or that block can come right underneath the sit bones. You want your palms pushing in towards one another. Elbows are going to push towards the knees, seeing if you can push those knees out to the side, feeling a little bit more of a stretch. From here, you're just going to walk your hands out in front of you, and you're going to let your chin tuck in towards the chest. So it's almost like a cat-like spine here, chin in towards the chest. You can round the spine a little bit. Just trying to find your breath again here. A little bit of an intense stretch in the thighs, but you're trying to hold here, sending the breath in towards that tension. And then you're going to walk your hands back in. And you're going to take your hands in towards heart center, and you're going to see if you can straighten yourself all the way up to standing. So maybe you need to use your hands to lift yourself up, or see if you can keep your hands in towards heart center and ground down through the feet to lift yourself up to standing. Taking your time as you lift yourself up, feeling that engagement through the legs. Once you make it up to standing, you're going to come back down into that squat. Slowly coming back down into that squat, taking your time as you release yourself down. And you can pause here in your Malasana squat, or one more time, see if you can slowly lift yourself up to standing. See if you can push into those palms, grounding the feet down to lift yourself up slowly. And once you make it up to standing again, slowly lowering yourself back down, taking your time to lower yourself down. And then once you come back into that squat, we're going to release down onto our seat. So finding your way onto your seat. And you're going to come into a Baddha Konasana. So feet are going to come into one another, knees are going to come out to the sides. Just to stretch out those hips a little bit, stretch out those inner thighs. So once you find that Baddha Konasana, if it's too much in the hips or the knees, you can always take your two blocks or pillows or blanket, whatever you have underneath those knees. And then once you find that comfortable Baddha Konasana on your inhale, you're going to reach fingertips up, trying to lengthen out the spine. And on your exhale, hands are going to come down towards the feet. If you want to take peace fingers, wrap them around the big toes, coming into that yogi toe lock. And then when you're ready, coming forward into a forward fold. But for your forward fold here, I want you to keep a flat spine. So you're not going to come down as you're used to coming into the into Baddha Konasana, into your forward fold. So you might stay right here, but try to keep that flat spine. Trying to feel the sit bones grounded down. If you have that yogi toe lock, maybe the elbows start to come out to the sides. You can tuck the chin in towards the chest here. You should feel some length in the spine. And pausing here just for a few rounds of breath with that flat back. Seeing if you can let the knees fall out to the sides. Using your breath to help you release. Really trying to release from the hips, keeping that flat back. And then once you've released as far as you can with that flat back, you can start to curl the spine. So tucking belly button in towards the spine. Chin comes in towards the chest, and you can start to let the head release down to the feet. If you have the yogi toe lock, elbows will start to release out to the knees. And then just finding your forward fold here. If you do have blocks, sometimes it's nice to take blocks out in front of you, and you can let the forearms come towards blocks and just let the head release down here. Really pushing the feet in towards one another, letting the knees fall out to the sides. And then you're going to take your time to lift yourself up, slowly lifting back up. Grounding those sit bones back down. You're going to take hands on the outside to the knees and just bring those knees back in towards one another. And then you're going to let the legs straighten out. Well, not all the way straight, actually, I lied. The feet are going to ground down into the floor, knees are going to stay bent. And we're going to come into Paschimottanasana, but with knees bent. So coming into a forward fold with knees bent. On your inhale, reaching fingertips up. On your exhale, you're going to reach your hands towards the toes. Palms are going to release down onto the top of the feet. And you're going to let your head go. So your head's going to release towards the knees. Knees are bent. You can walk the feet in closer or further away, whatever feels better. And you should feel a release in the low back here. So head can fall right on top of the knees. Maybe in between the knees, chest falls into the thighs. And just trying to send breath towards the back body. So really feeling those inhales and exhales come through the back. And as you start to feel comfortable, maybe you want to stay right here with knees bent, or maybe you want to come into full Paschimottanasana, taking your time walking those legs out. Maybe you want the knees to stay a little bit bent. So just making it your own forward fold, doing what feels best for your body. Maybe you want to straighten the legs all the way up, coming into that full forward fold. But if it feels better with knees bent, stay there with knees bent. And then whether you have straight legs or knees bent, you're going to slowly lift yourself up. And then we're going to release all the way down onto our back. So just taking your time releasing down. Maybe knees are bent, maybe knees are straight. Just releasing yourself all the way down onto the floor. And on your inhale, bringing knees in towards the chest, wrapping arms around the legs. Gently rocking from side to side. And then we're going to come into figure four or pigeon pose on our backs. So left foot is going to release down. And you're going to bring that right ankle towards the top of that left knee. So right on that left thigh. Then the right knee is bent and you're pushing that right knee away. So it looks like the number 4. You're flexing the right toes. Left foot is grounded down. And maybe you stay right here, really pushing that right knee away. If you feel ready, you can lift that left leg up off the floor and maybe you stay right here. Or maybe you can take the hands in between the legs and grab her behind that left thigh. And then again, you want to try and pull in on the left knee as you push the right knee away. So feeling that opposing motion, pulling in as you push the opposite away. You can interlace the fingertips right behind that left thigh. And then as you pull that left knee in, really seeing if you can push that low back down. So pushing the low back down as you pull that left knee in. Taking a few rounds of deep breath here, feeling the spine lengthening out underneath you. And then to release out of this, taking your time, unclasping those hands, letting the left foot release. Letting the right foot release, you're going to walk the feet out towards mat distance and just let the knees fall in towards one another. So just finding some release, your hands can come towards the hips. And then lifting those knees back up, coming towards the opposite side. You're going to lift that left leg up, taking that left ankle right over that right knee onto that right thigh. And then remember, pausing here, trying to push that left knee away, that right foot grounds down. If this is enough, you stay right here. If you want to continue, you can reach that right foot up. And you can reach the hands in between the legs, grabbing for behind the right thigh. As you hug the right knee in, try and push the left knee away. So pushing left knee away, hugging right knee in. Feeling that low back release, feeling the spine lengthen out. Feeling that nice stretch in the hips. Using your breath to hug that right knee in a little bit closer. And then to come out of it again, slowly unclasping the hands, letting right foot release. Lifting left foot up, letting left foot release. And again, you're going to walk the knees in towards one another. Feet come out to mat distance apart and the knees just knock in. And again, feeling the spine lengthening out. This time, one hand can come towards your heart and one hand towards your belly. And this time, really feel the breath move through the body. So you can feel each inhale, each exhale. And the body rise and fall. And then on your inhale, just lifting your knees back up towards center. And then you're going to take your arms overhead, grasping opposite elbows, and just let the knees fall over towards the right side. As the knees fall over to the right, if that left hip comes up off the floor, that's fine. Yogi's choice. If you want to, if it feels okay in the hips, you can lift the right foot up, and the right foot can come right on top of the left thigh. You'll feel a deeper stretch in that left hip. If that doesn't feel okay, left foot can stay on the floor. Trying to roll both shoulder blades down into the floor. Trying to send the breath towards that low back. And if your right foot is on top of that left knee, just releasing that foot off of that left knee, lifting the knees back up through center, switching sides. So letting the knees fall over towards the left this time. And then same thing on this side. If it feels okay for that right hip, you can lift the left foot up and it comes right on top of that right knee. So you're trying to push that right knee down into the floor with that left foot. And then releasing that left foot back down onto the floor, lifting knees back up through center. You're gonna wrap the arms around the legs, bringing the knees in towards the body. Then on your inhale, you're gonna see if you can lift head, neck, and shoulders up, bringing forehead up towards the knees. And then see if you can crunch everything in the body in. So rolling shoulders up towards the ears, crunching knees in towards the nose, flexing the toes, bringing those fingertips in towards the hands, crunching in the face. On your exhale, you're gonna let everything release onto the floor. So preparing yourself for Shavasana for final relaxation, corpse pose. So making yourself as comfortable as you can. If you have a pillow or a blanket, that can come right underneath the head. If you have any extra layers, if you have a sweatshirt or socks, maybe you have a blanket you can put over yourself. You want to make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can and not skipping over Shavasana. It's the most important part of your practice. Relaxation is a part of the yoga practice. So then finding that comfortable position. And once you find that comfortable position, trying to release the entire body down into the floor. So coming into that full corpse pose, coming into relaxation. You feel the body melting down into the floor and just pausing here for a few more rounds of breath, trying to stay present here in your Shavasana.
She sings sweet things to the ones that take her home. After the laughter, she's left stuck on her own. I know dust rolls, even when there is a breeze. Can't move, can't grow when you fall on your knees. She talks at night when nobody is there, asking for signs to show they really care. Love, please surround me. I know I've got more to give, the reasons to leave, but 1,000 more to live. Will it be this way tomorrow? After all that's been today, will it be this way tomorrow? I don't know, but I won't Love, please surround me. I know I've got more to give, the reasons to leave, but 1,000 more to live. But 1,000 more to live.
And slowly starting to come back to the body, starting to wiggle the fingertips and the toes. Maybe gently rocking from side to side. And then when you're ready, bringing the knees back in towards the chest, wrapping the arms around the legs, hugging the knees in. And then rocking over to your right side, coming into the fetal position, pausing here for a few moments. And then when you're ready, lifting yourself back up towards that seated position that we started class in, finding that comfortable seat, crossing one leg in front of the other. And then as you start to find that comfortable seat, again, trying to take that gaze back inward for a few more rounds of breath. Rolling the shoulder blades back, feeling the spine lengthening out. On your next inhale, reaching fingertips out to the sides, palms come overhead to touch. On your exhale, letting the palms release down into heart center. And again, coming back into the present moment, checking in with how the body and the mind feel here. Seeing if you can continue that feeling throughout the rest of your day. So maybe taking a few more moments for yourself at some point today to find that presence, find yourself. Seeing if you can do that throughout the rest of this next week ahead and maybe for the month ahead. And then to close class, we'll take those 3 rounds of deep cleansing breath, really letting everything go out through the mouth. Taking a deep inhale in. Exhale the breath out. 2 more times, inhale in. Exhale, release. 1 more time, deepest inhale in. Exhale, let the breath go. Lokaha samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings live happy, wild, and free. Namaste.